Good morning everyone, and welcome to Carol's Kitchen. And today we are making fridge soup. Now I call it fridge soup because it's what's been left over in the fridge. It's what needs using up in the fridge and anything else that I can find in the cupboard. So I've got here a little bit of chorizo, which is going to add some nice flavour to the soup. I've got a load of leeks and a load of carrots. I've got some stock already made, and then I'm going to add a few of these, let's get that in the camera, there we go, red lentils. So first of all, I've been heating some oil in the pan, so now I'm going to add the chorizo to the pan, just to soften it and get out that little bit of extra oil. Right, let's turn that up a little bit. There we go. And so that just takes the little bit of oil out of the chorizo. I've added just a tablespoon of oil in here just so it doesn't stick. And then, come on, let's get going. It's the trouble when it's an electric hob as opposed to gas or anything else that I've used in the past. Once that starts, then we're going to add all of the chopped, cleaned leeks. So I noticed I went to Tesco yesterday morning, early, 7 o'clock, like I always do, not on a Thursday morning, and there were loads and loads of fresh vegetables. So it's an ideal opportunity to make some soup, put it in the freezer. I use special soup bags so they don't take up as much room in my freezer as boxes will do. So just going to put the lid on that just to get it to sweat a little bit and soften before I put the carrots in. So why am I adding some of these? So these are red split lentils, and they're an ideal source of protein, really cheap to buy, really easy to keep in the cupboard. They come in big bags and small bags, and they're also about half the level of carbohydrate as the green lentils. And quite frankly, when they're all smushed up in a soup, which I'm going to smush up later, nobody will know the difference. So as many of you know, I actually teach a lower carbohydrate way of eating, but in these times it might not be possible to eat as low carbohydrate as we would like to. So looking at ways of adding in some protein, which is probably more readily available in most shops, because I have to say there were bags and bags of these on the shelf yesterday, without adding too much carbohydrate. Now, do I have a recipe? No, I don't. I have just taken all the leeks that needed using out the fridge. I've taken all the carrots that needed using out the fridge, put the fresh carrots back into the fridge, and then I'm going to add the lentils, and then we're going to add some seasoning, obviously, because seasoning is super important with these sorts of things. So I've got some mixed herbs here, which will help, but you can add anything. You can make it curry flavoured if you wanted to. I love a bit of curry. What have I got here in my cupboard? Yep, I've got a curry powder here. There we go. If you're going to add curry powder, you want to do it at this stage when you're frying off the onions or the leeks. So, because that's when you get the most flavour out of these things. That's the spices. Now another, oh, listen to that. That's lovely sound. So another nice spice that I use is cumin. I like cumin a lot. I actually use cumin when I'm cooking with this. I presume you know what this is. So this is a butternut squash. Now butternut squash, good things to buy at the minute because they keep for months. So they're always available, multi-purpose. I'll be using this in another recipe, but cumin goes very well with butternut squash. So I bought 2 of these yesterday because they say they'll keep for months and I can just keep them and use them as I need them. Whereas things like the leeks and the carrots, they go a bit soft and a bit brown around the edges. So they need using up more quickly. So now I'm going to add the carrots. Now, whatever you've got in the fridge. So if you had, for instance, some orange juice in the fridge, or even some oranges in the fridge, you could add a bit of orange rind, a bit of orange juice to this, and make carrot and orange soup, in which case you wouldn't need any of these spices. Now, because I've added chorizo, I am actually going to add some mixed herbs, but the chorizo gives a nice little bit of body to the soup. So we'll just leave that to make sure that the vegetables are all beginning to soften a little bit. Now, you don't need a soup maker to make soup, you just need a saucepan. So it just needs a saucepan, and then what I use is, let me show you, one of these to smush it up with. So that's all I use. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use later. And what you can do if you don't like a full smooth soup is that you can take some of it out, smush up the rest of it, and then put the bits back. Okay, right. So let me just move the camera a bit closer and show you what this lovely, see if I can show you what the soup looks like. Yes, there we go. Okay, so that's what the soup looks like now. Beautiful. And now I'm going to add, put that camera back, I'm going to add just a handful of the lentils. They go a lot further than you think they go. They will thicken the soup, they will swell up in there. I'm now going to add some salt and pepper because everything needs a bit of seasoning. Let's find my pepper. There it is. Okay, so there's the pepper, and I will taste that later and adjust the seasoning. And now I'm going to add the stock. So I've got a big, now if you haven't got any stock cubes, you can't get any stock cubes, just use water. Okay, it really doesn't matter. You don't need a recipe, you just need to put in what looks right. Now that needs a little bit more water, so I'm going to add the remains of the hot water from the kettle. And then again, once it's cooked, I am going to add, I'm going to adjust the liquid content. So I'm now going to put the lid on, cook that up for about, probably half an hour, and then we'll come back to that, and I'll show you the finished product. And we're back, and let me just move the camera here and show you the soup as it now is, all finished, steaming, hot, beautiful, really easy to make. Oh, still bubbling. There we go. So what else could you make? What else have you got in the fridge that you could add to soup? So I often, when I actually serve it, I actually put there we go, some spinach in the top, maybe some frozen spinach, fresh spinach, maybe a little bit of yogurt, anything like that at all, and you've got a wonderful nourishing soup for you, the family, your neighbours, anybody who you want to give it to. So if you've got any comments, please pop below, and I'll see you next time in Carol's Kitchen.